Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. I found some time this weekend to go down into the collection, and I managed to find a couple of books. And what I realized is that a few weeks ago, probably a few months ago, I had found a stack of books that I had not recorded a video on, so I'm doing an all-in-one. Some books that I just found this weekend, as well as some books that I found a while ago. With all of that said, stay tuned for the video if you want to see what I found. So the very first book that I want to show you all is one of the ones that I found a couple of months ago that was sitting on a shelf, and I went hunting for this around the time that I did a video on the Marvels, and this right here is Fantastic Four issue number 205. And this is the first team appearance of the Nova Corps. And this is a cool book because I do believe that Nova will be making an appearance at some point in the MCU, which I think is kind of cool. And I've also been reading volume 1 of his self-titled series, and I've been honestly enjoying it. And so it was cool a few months ago to have found a couple of copies of 205, the first appearance of the Nova Corps. And while I was hunting for that in the Fantastic Four bins, I managed to come across another book. This is a book that I've seen before, but I pulled it out because I wanted to record a video. This is Fantastic Four issue number 245. This is the first appearance of Avatar, who is, I think, a future adult version of Franklin Richards. I blinked on his name for a moment. It's the first appearance of Franklin Richards as an adult, and again, there are a couple of copies of that in the 100K collection. This next book is one that I found just this weekend, and I went looking for this one because it popped up on Key Collector app, and I was curious as to whether I actually had this book in the collection. I was able to go right to the Silver Sable bin and find the first meeting between Daredevil and Deadpool. This is Silver Sable issue number 23, and I managed to find a couple of copies of this in the collection. I'm actually going to go put this one back in there because it doesn't make sense to hold out a Silver Sable book, so I'll stick it right back in the collection and save it for another day. The next couple of books are books that I went hunting for again a few months ago. I was on this whole Savage Dragon kick for some reason or another, and I found a couple of really cool Savage Dragons books. This is issue number 33, a very graphic cover. This is the first appearance of Savage Dragon's son, issue number 33 right there, and I think there's a couple of copies of that in the collection. Here is the first cover appearance of She-Dragon. This is issue number 51. That's a cool cover right there. I actually have a cell from the Savage Dragon cartoon that someone gave me featuring She-Dragon and Savage Dragon. So a single cell that someone sent me like several years ago. This next one I think is a big book. I think it's a big book if you happen to be a fan of Invincible. This is Savage Dragon issue number 102, and there is a 5-page preview of Invincible inside of here. And I've hunted for this book a couple of times, could not locate it, but finally found a copy again a couple of months ago. So cool book right there, cool red cover. There's also a cover, I do believe, a very political statement by Eric Larson where Savage Dragon, I think, is punching George W. Bush. I think that's one of the covers. There's a couple of copies of that in the collection as well. This next one, I actually found 2 copies of this most recent time, but I found copies of this in the past. This is the first appearance of a Spider-Man clone. This is specifically Ben Reilly's first appearance as the Scarlet Spider, and a really cool cover right there. Managed to find this time around 2 copies of that book. I'm not sure what I'll do with these. I may just stick them in a bin for the moment and revisit them a little bit later. The next couple of books are all related to Blue Beetle, and recently there was a Blue Beetle promotional poster that was released. This movie is clearly still a go for Warner Brothers, and so I found these copies again a while ago. This is Infinite Crisis issue number 3, the first appearance of the Blue Beetle, the third Blue Beetle right there. Cool cover right there. The better cover might be this one, George Perez's version of the cover. So a couple of really cool copies of that right there. And then the very last one is not a book that I found recently. I actually found this book several years ago, but I wanted to pull it out because I was focused on the Blue Beetle. I thought that I would show this one. This is Charlton Bullseye, issue number 1. This is, I do believe, the Silver Age reintroduction of the second Blue Beetle, and just a really cool cover right there featuring Blue Beetle and also the Question. A couple of cool characters. So there you have it. Those are essentially the books that I found in the 100K collection. I hope that you all enjoyed this latest installment. And for those that don't know, the 100K collection is a collection of more than 100,000 comics that I purchased several years ago, and I've been through the collection several times, but as books get hot, as people start to show interest in books, I go to see whether I have those books in the collection, and that's essentially what you've seen in this video. With that said, if you enjoyed it, go ahead and tap the thumbs up button. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care. If you're interested in taking your comic book knowledge to the next level, I want to encourage you to check out our new guide, The Guide to Smart Comic Collecting, co-written by Doug Bratton. This guide will help you to elevate your game, and you can find it on RegieCollects.com.